everybody, and thank you very much for joining us to celebrate IDAHOBIT Day. I'm Katrina Cooper. I'm the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Australian Embassy in Washington. IDAHOBIT Day is the International Day against homophobia, biphobia, intersexism and transphobia. And it's a really important day that we celebrate every year here in Washington, DC. It's an important day that embraces and celebrates the diversity of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and intersex people. And it promotes acceptance and respect regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. And as I said, we celebrate this every year at the Embassy in Washington, DC. We can't do it in person this year because of the current circumstances, because of COVID-19. But we're very, very lucky to have with us today Erin Phillips, so we can celebrate it virtually and share it with everybody across social media. And Erin, I'm sure, needs no introduction. She's one of the most recognised, at least, sports stars in Australia. She's represented Australia at 2 Olympic Games with the Opals. And that, of course, is the Australian women's basketball team. And she's played and coached at the Women's National Basketball Association here in the United States. So we're really very, very delighted to have Erin joining us from Adelaide to celebrate this year's IDAHOBIT Day. At home, Erin's best known for captaining the winning team in the inaugural AFL women's season. Erin grew up, I understand, Erin, on the boundary of a footy field, and she's risen to receive its highest accolades. And she's done this with Tracy, her American wife, and their 3 children by her side. Welcome, Erin, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, it's an honour to be here.
I wanted to dive right in, Erin, and ask you about a very iconic photo. It's a photo of you and your wife, Tracy, embracing at the 2017 AFLW Awards. And it really changed, you know, the face and the perception of footy, not just in Australia, but around the world. You know, for all of us, sporting heroes are icons. We look up to them, and by being proudly out, both on and off the field, you increase the visibility of LGBTI athletes, you know, not just in Australia, but across the world. Can you share with us a little bit about that moment, what it meant to you, and whether you expected the reaction that it received?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I won the Best and Fairest award, and Gil McLachlan, CEO of the AFL, announced my name. And without any second thought, guessing, I kissed my wife, Tracy, very, very naturally, without even thinking. And the very next day it was on front of papers all across Australia, all across the internet. It was a massive discussion, and honestly was really blown away of that this was such a massive talking point. I mean, this was something, I kissed my wife, you know, 20 times a day. It was something so the norm for me. And I guess from that point was a really hit home moment of what that, even that small natural thing that we did, how, I guess, how impactful that was. The visibility of that moment was to so many people. And it created a massive discussion, you know, amongst the whole of Australia, really, because we were in a time where gay marriage was not yet legal, and so it started really ramping up a big discussion. You know, I was kind of more blown away of just how more positive people were. I mean, obviously had the negative as well with everything, I guess, that you do in the public. But it was more the positive impacts that moment had, and without even having to realise, you know, the significance of something a gesture so small between Tracy and I. The amount of people that reached out to me personally on social media, just thanking us for being visible, for being open, and for normalising something that they've been trying to do for so long. And so it was really touching. I mean, that was, you know, probably one of the most impactful moments of my entire life without even knowing it.
Mm, mm. And that gesture, which, as you say, is a very normal, everyday gesture for two people who love each other, it also thrust you into a leadership spotlight as well. What does
Yeah.
that mean to you, being a leader for youth, but especially for LGBTI youth?
Look, if I could become any type of leader, as long as it's in a positive light and as long as it changes people's lives or creates discussion in a positive way, I'm all for it. Why wouldn't you be? I think the biggest thing with me is that I've, you know, I've been with Tracy now for 13 years, and we've never really been that, um, you know, out there kind of in your face couple. We've kind of just done things normally and naturally, like a everyday normal, I won't say normal, but like heterosexual couple do. And I think by having gone about it that way has really normalized it for a lot of people. And it was not a role I ever thought I would be in. Like I said, I guess it took one kiss, being in the paper, and it created so much discussion. And like I said, now putting it in a positive light, I'm absolutely all for it, because it's something that one day can be, Erin Phillips just, kissed her wife, not Erin Phillips is gay and, kissed her gay wife. It should just be, talked about as Erin and Tracy.
Mm, mm. Erin, there's been, and there continues to be, exclusion of people from participating in sporting events because of their sexual orientation or their gender identity. And naturally enough, this has significant impacts on their mental health and well-being and involvement in the community. Could you talk to us a little bit about the effect that sport has had on your life and on the broader LGBTI community?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, sport has been something that I was, like I think you mentioned before, I was raised on the side of a football field, which is pretty much how it was for me. And, sport has always been something that I could identify with, that I was always comfortable, that as soon as I crossed the white line, I was myself. I was just an athlete. I was competing. Um, as dramatic as it sounds, I was almost free when I was on the sporting field. And I was a little tomboy, basically, growing up, wanting to play football. I cut my hair short because I wanted to look like Dad. He was my idol. He was a football player at the time. So, I thought, can't have long hair playing football because, getting away, and none of the other players, the boys, had long hair. So I wanted to have short hair. And, I was so fortunate that I was a part of a football club at the time in my junior career that accepted me to play. And I was the only girl in the whole competition at the time. And I was welcome and accepted as basically one of the boys, and treated as an athlete, treated as a player, without my teammates ever thinking twice about me being a female. And it was not without a lot of, I had a lot of struggles with opposition teams that didn't like, me being on the field because it was a girl and they didn't want to play against me. And but look, sport was something for me that I could. It made me happy, and I loved it. I could be who I was. I never ever felt, like I was unaccepted. And I think, it's a sad thing when I hear about so many, so many people that are discriminated against because their sexual orientation. Something, so minor to me. For me, it was fortunate enough that I was included and welcomed.
Can you share with us a little bit about your experiences representing Australia at the Olympics, and also the significance of having a safe meeting place for athletes to come together, and what that means for the community?
Yeah. Oh, talking about an Olympics experience could take hours, because it's incredible. I think being a part of the biggest sporting event in the world is incredible in itself. And then you've got so many things. You've got the Olympic Village, the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony. It's something that you can really hard. It's hard to describe until you get there. But I guess the unique thing is the Olympic Village. So many people want to know about the village, and all the athletes there and where you live. And it's the coolest place, because you've got all the countries all living in this basically built world for them for the next couple of weeks, and you eat with them. You live next door. You see them. You go to, there's hairdressers in the Olympics. There's nail salons. There's all these incredible places, and you're all mixed in together, all there for one purpose, and that's to win a gold medal. It's pretty cool. And you see them training in the Olympic Village. You see them, you see the triathlons running around and getting ready for events, and you see the cyclists working on their bikes. It's so unique. Like, it's something, it's so, like I said, I could describe it for hours. And it is really cool that we do get to come together every 4 years, like I said, in that safe environment, getting ready to compete, hoping that your best effort, your best game is able to be played or performed, in that week, or even a day or a moment in some of the events. So it's pretty intense. It's stressful because it's the Olympics, and that if things goes wrong, it's not next week, it's in 4 years. But it is an incredible experience. It is something that I literally probably looked like a deer in headlights when I first went into the village, because I just could not take everything in all at once. It was amazing.
Amazing. Erin, we talk about the Olympics. Of course, it's an arena of competition, and there's no greater country rivalry perhaps than on the sporting arena. And you have, played and lived and coached on both sides of the Pacific, in Australia and the United States. For us, you are a mateship patron. Thank you so much. A great exemplar of an Australian who has had success in both countries and understands the relationship really well, and understands particularly that sporting relationship and rivalry. How have you found it working, coaching, playing sport in both countries, and being a mentor as well to all of those young people?
Look, I absolutely love it. I loved playing over in the United States. I got to travel all across and see, amazing cities. In my first year, probably of playing in the WNBA, I should have been resting a little bit more. But as soon as we landed in a city, I was gone. I was out, exploring and taking it all in. But I love the United States. It's obviously second home. Well, home to my wife and family. So it's been great being able to come across in both countries and play at the highest level in the WNBA, and then obviously get the opportunity to coach. They do say that you should always coach before you play, because you'll get a better understanding, and you probably give your coaches, you cut them a bit of a break if you've coached before. But it was amazing to be a coach, to mentor the players of the future that are best in the world. And one of the things that are really cool about the WNBA especially is that you play in a league in the States for 4 or 5 month season, and then we basically break away and play overseas in Europe. And so some of my teammates became my opponents on other teams in Europe. So it's kind of a pretty unique situation. And then obviously in the Olympic Games, I'm an Australian playing in the American League, but then come in Olympics, I'm wearing green and gold, and it's hatred against each other. We want to beat each other. We want to win a medal. So it's pretty competitive, and I think it's really healthy, and we have a really good relationship. There's great respect between the USA and Australia, and especially when it comes to on the sporting field.
Mm. It's difficult times, as we've talked about, with COVID-19, and everybody's looking forward to being able to be watching sport again, seeing grandstands hopefully once again filled one day. Both of your codes are facing postponement, cancellations at the moment. What are you doing to stay connected with teammates, to keep mentally and physically agile? And what would you say to all of those fans out there who are just really desperate to get back into going and watching their favorite sporting event?
Well, I don't know about them, but I've watched a lot of replays of games. Pretended that I'm in the moment, pretended that it's live. But look, it's hard. Like this is hard on so many different levels for so many different people, of what we're experiencing. And I can't wait for sport to come back, because sport's always been an outlet as well. Not one just playing, but also being able to watch, to support, to when your team's losing, get mad. And I really enjoyed that part of sport. And like I said, I just can't wait the day when you can go to a game and there's crowd, and I can smell hot chips and the barbecues that are going on at the stadium. So for me, I've been doing as much as I can. My training is still outside. I've got a bike in my garage. Just trying to keep physically fit enough to when all the restrictions are lifted, that I can get out there and start training hard again. But look, just trying to reach out to teammates, to different people that I know have been struggling, obviously, can be a really, really lonely time, and mentally challenging time as well. So checking in on people, I find bringing up some really good stories, to reminisce on, and talk about. We can't wait till we get back out there. And look, but like I said, it's been a struggle for a lot of people. I can't wait for the day that this COVID-19 is past us. I'm sure it's going to be a discussion for a long, long time, but I hope we get to a point soon where we can all get together, have a cup of tea, coffee, have a beer at the pub or whatever, and watch a game of football or go to a sporting event together. So that'll be a great day when that can happen.
That'll be a great day, Erin. I think everybody agrees that'll be a great day.
Yep.
Look, it has been so generous of you to give us so much of your time and to agree to come and talk to us today in honour of IDAHOBIT Day. We can't wait to see you on the field again. We wish you, your wife Tracy, and your 3 children the very, very best of health, and hope you manage through this difficult period very well. I'm sure the children are keeping you very busy.
Oh yeah.
You're a wonderful, wonderful representative of our country. You do us very, very proud. Thank you so very much for everything you do with young people, with members of the community. And we really look forward to having you back in the States as our mateship patron. Thank you very much.
No. Thank you so much for having me. Please stay safe, everyone. And yeah, happy IDAHOBIT Day. And like I always say, be brave, be yourself, be you. That's enough.